Hey everybody, it's Tuesday, and today we're going to look for correlations and bottoms and analyze where the floor could be if there is one. And we'll also look at some correlations. A lot of people think they've found alchemy. We'll see if it is possible to make money from correlations, special ones too. And we'll look at all the other crazy stuff happening around AI and the world, and how real-world assets are on fire, not just AI agents and stuff like that. Anyway, for all of you out there in the bad weather this winter, stay safe. Let's get into it. Bloodbath Bottom, not financial advice. And a big shout out to everybody in Patreon from Pi Square. I may be the poorest guy among your Patreon members, but it's never too late to start. No, it's not. And I'll tell you how poor I was not too long ago. So again, everything can change very fast. Never give up hope, even though hope is not a strategy. Always be positive. Let's get into the ugly news, and there is quite a bit of ugly news. First of all, we are still in 5 red months so far, and it's been nasty. So Feb is still down 14.4%, and it was February 14th, just 3 days ago, and 10.1% loss in January, 3% December. December looks quite good now. You see that 3% in October, and a nasty 17% in November. So it has been brutal. By the way, there is a little bit of good news. Bitcoin never falls more than 5 months in a row. For what it's worth, we'll cling on to whatever we can find as well. And we're still in the ugly section. This is the last 30 days of crypto. It has been brutal out there. Okay, you got names like Monero down 47.4%, Sui 46.2%, ICP, ETH, Sol. Actually, Sol isn't down as bad as ETH, but they're both down a lot. Bitcoin down 31% in a month. And whatever hype is up 16.5%. And CC, no idea what CC is. Anyhow, not the time to be looking into CC. Anyway, we will be talking about some CC in a minute, correlation coefficients. Let's get into the bad news. This is the last 7 days in Bitcoin terms. ETH lost compared to Bitcoin. Solana kind of break even, and Binance beat Bitcoin. XRP did too by a whopping 7%. Doge as well. Doge is up because people are pinning their hopes and dreams to X money using Doge. Of course they can't. It's too slow, too old, too stodgy. Remember, speed matters in this future world. Crypto over the last 7 days. Bitcoin down 3.9%, ETH down 6%, etc. It has not been a good week, but here we are, middle of Feb. Let's see. Now, as I say, no man, no fun. The money needs to flow, and the Bitcoin money just began. This is the daily chart. We had $15 million in yesterday after 2 days of negative, then 3 days of positive. So if you look at the last 6 days, only 2 are negative. So that's good. If you look at the last 9 days, the Reds win 4-5. So again, the money has not been coming in. We need that to return if you want to get this train back on track. And there is a lot of Bitcoin fatigue out there, but I will get some good Bitcoin news as well. Hang with me. Converging lines. We had now 11.1 million Bitcoin in profit versus nearly 9 million in loss. And this, again, I touched on it briefly yesterday. This typically marks out historical bottoms. And that's what we're trying to look for here. But there is no trading volume in the space. It is kind of quiet. And last week, you can see digital asset flows for the week last week, not the one I showed previously, that was today or yesterday. But you can see that the outflows were 173 million, and over the last month, 3.75 billion. So again, 4 big, nasty red weeks. Not enough counterbalanced by the week 5 weeks ago. Now, one of the stories I'm going to touch on today, because I'm being peppered with questions all about special correlations that have just been discovered, and people get very excited. So we have a thing called the SaaSpocalypse happening right now, where SaaS software is getting hurt. And then people say, oh, SaaS is tanking. Guess what? Bitcoin's tanking too, because Bitcoin software. And this is the whole alchemy story that we're going to get to. So let's look at some correlations, because There was a lot of conversation everywhere. All the experts are saying there is correlation with IGV, which is the tech software ETF. And yes, this heavily dominated by companies like Salesforce and Microsoft, etc. And these software companies, many of them are SaaS software companies, which means they charge per seat, per month, or whatever else. They're getting hammered because of Anthropic AI. You can spin up a $100,000 piece of software for $2,000 in a few days. And that's what's really rattling the market. But if you look at this chart again carefully, it shows you the price of Bitcoin at the top and the correlation of the IGV software ETF with Bitcoin. And yes, if you go back over time, sometimes it's correlated, sometimes it's not. But the point is it good enough a correlation to make money on? The answer is no, not at all. Let's just look at the last 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, this Bitcoin price was nearly completely inversely correlated to this IGV. And the correlation was 0.8 for basically the whole of January, pretty much. So no, it's not correlated. Okay, so those who think they can all of a sudden find a secret correlation to make money on, it's not going to fly. It's not going to work. Now, what I did as well, just to prove this point, I compared Bitcoin correlation to Tesla. For giggles, why not? Interesting, because I look at both a lot. And you can see here, the correlation with Tesla is even stronger than IGV, which is funny. And I went one step further, and for years on Octa, for nearly 5 years, I've been talking about Bitcoin correlation with Nasdaq. This is the closest correlation. This is way more correlated than the IGV index, software index. So if you are looking for a correlation with Bitcoin, it's the QQQ, Nasdaq. It's not Tesla. It's not IGV. It's not daffodils. So just bear that in mind, okay? Now, let's get into more on-chain stuff. We're still in the bad news part, I think. Flows by asset. We saw Bitcoin drained 133 million last week. Ethereum, 85 million. XRP pulled in 33 million and Solana pulled in 31 million. And Chainlink, we will talk about Chainlink, 1.1 million. So money is coming in to the space, but not where you think. We'll get more into Chainlink and Solana in a little bit. And is AltSeason on? Nope. But it is getting closer. So a lot of alts are beginning to outperform Bitcoin lately. And it's up to 47. Once it goes beyond 47, that means of the top 50, the majority are outperforming. Very important to remember that. Also, let's look at ETH ETF flows. They also, like Bitcoin, had a positive ETF flow yesterday, 11 million. Bitcoin had 15 million. That's not bad. We need to turn this ship around. Money needs to come into the space. We just need to be patient. Now, after all of that, and a big thank you to the mods in chat too, by the way. Sean D, T&D, KH, and everybody else. Appreciate you all for coming. Let's look at the good news. My favorite part. I like to get the ugly and bad news out of the way first, so we can enjoy the good news. First of all, when we're talking about floors, let's look at some historical context as well. And I know we can't really compare Bitcoin to history anymore because everything is different. But people ask, where should I buy if I don't have any? Or where should I layer in? Where is the support level, etc.? We thought, based on history, the 70K would hold. It didn't hold. We broke badly. We fell all the way to 60K. But now we look at history. This is the real Bitcoin realized price from Bitcoin Magazine Pro. And you can see here, the golden line is now around 56K. And that typically is a floor for the bear market. It can be breached, but it never stays below that for long, everybody. Briefly, we saw that in 2022. We stayed under there for a few weeks. Very interesting. What else do we have as floor signs? Well, the 200-week moving average is also a historic floor. Yes, it can be breached. It did get breached in the last bear, but albeit briefly. And we are just 13% away from this floor, which is $59,000. So realized price 56K, 200-week moving average 59,000. We basically hit 59K by hitting 60K a few weeks ago. Let's look at two other signs, touched on them briefly yesterday. the supply and loss is in bear territory. This is from James Check. And the other way to think about it is in the negative, i.e. supply and loss is larger than the voltage supply, the space between the circulating supply and the active supply. And that is also a bear market signal. Again, we don't stay below this level for very long. If history repeats, the three most important words in the Bitcoin vernacular these days. And James Van Straten, he says TA and OnChain together isn't a thing, but this is absolutely wild. And I do believe, by the way, it's funny James Van Straten said that TA and OnChain isn't a thing. This program on Tuesdays for 5 years has been called OCTA, On-Chain Technical Analysis. I believe in looking at them both together is very powerful. So shout out to James. But here you see, if we go by this chart, history would suggest that the bottom is in. With that elevated channel, of course, price goes up over time, and the amount of supply and profit goes up over time, et cetera, because many coins are dormant. But here we are. We are right at that level, and that could mean we bottom too. So there are some of the bottom signs. If we did bottom, like the price right now, 67,500, we're 7,500 off the 60K we hit a few weeks ago. Who knows where we go from here? But again, it all goes down to, is the money coming in? And when whales see these bottom signals, they say, I'm going to go get me some. And we'll get to the whale charts in a second. Now, another piece of good news that is giving people some comfort, like myself. Merlin the Trader says there is a Bitcoin quantum update with BIP 360, laying the groundwork for post-quantum protection. The stuff we've been crying out for ages. Yes, it's possible. ETH is doing it. Other chains already probably have it done. But now Bitcoin is going down this path too. And let's get back to the whales, because maybe they heard about BIP 360 and said, ooh, I'm getting back in. I'm jumping back into the pool with the other whales. And here you can see it's a little bit of an eye chart. But whales added 40,000 Bitcoin over the last week. Okay, if you look at the top one, that purple line, that's the whales with 10,000 Bitcoin to 100,000 Bitcoin. They added 18,000 Bitcoin over the last week. And the addresses with the whales, 1,000 to 10,000 Bitcoin, they added 22,000 Bitcoin in the last week. 22 plus 18 is 40,000 Bitcoin, which is a lot. A nice bag. So they're beginning to step back in, which is a good sign. And in fact, the big ones stepped back in bigly as well, which is good. Now let's try summarize a lot of what I'm trying to say here in all these different charts. Well, the wallets, the small wallets, 10 to 100, are aggressively buying the 60K dip all across the board. Then the 1,000 and 10,000 are buying heavy, 22,000 Bitcoin. The 10,000 plus, 10,000 to 100,000 whales bought 18,000. Those two cohorts combined, 40,000 Bitcoin. And remember, MVRV at 29% historically is the opportunity zone for long-term accumulation. That's kind of like your game plan. Another version of your game plan is things to look for. You know, I always say we're closer to the bottom than the top. Always have some cash and always think about this kind of 60K level. If we dip there again, okay, and history is anywhere close to the past, that means we're within a couple of $1,000 of the actual bear market bottom. And this bear market happened real fast. It caught a lot of people with their pants down. I didn't expect it to fall 50% in 120 days. Anyway, that's risk happens faster now. Market risk is happening faster than ever before. Let's get into more good news. Solana ETF flows have been positive the last 4 days, unlike Bitcoin and Ethereum. What's going on with Solana? Yeah, we had a couple of negative days, but nothing like what the others have had. Well, it's getting the attention of TradFi. You're seeing big partnerships. You're seeing PayPal saying they're going to do all the stablecoin action on Solana. You got Visa doing something similar around micropayments and also AI agent payments and so forth. And real world assets is completely on fire. What's crazy about this is this was only $1 billion in January. We're only a few weeks into Feb and it's up to 1.66 billion. It's going completely vertical. And this is people trading tokenized stocks on Solana. Very big narrative. We'll get to why that matters to Chainlink too in a minute. And the Solana ecosystem as well. was completely crazy. Yes, the price is $85. Yes, it's cheap. Yes, it's under $100. Yes, the all-time high is 295. So it's way off the all-time high. But again, record real-world assets. We have now had over the last 3 years, 350 billion transactions on the chain in 3 years. And it's nearly 3 years since the chain had an outage. And outages can't happen anymore because there's multiple validators running different software code stacks. So if one code stack blows up because of a bug, the other one will run. There'll be fire dancing, and there's some more as well that are running now. So the days of outages are over. The chain should be coming out of beta real soon too. But 350 billion transactions is more than all other blockchains combined. Try to put that in perspective. And it trades at like less than the fifth of the price of Ethereum, which is nutty. Also, a lot of builders, they're focusing to application layer and global finance. There was a lot of talk of that against consensus. Again, deals with PayPal and Visa, and big upgrades for finality around Alpenglow and Firedancer to get to 1 million, 1.2 million transactions per second, which is what is required for the new AI agent world. As everything goes to AI agents. Traditional finance rails cannot handle that speed or that load. Only crypto can. So for years, I mentioned this before, we're waiting to onboard 1 billion users to crypto. That doesn't matter. Humans no longer matter. AI agents matter. And one human could have 100 AI agents, or 1,000, or 10,000. And each AI agent can transact 10,000 times a day. That's how you get to 1 quadrillion transactions a week. It is going to be crazy. Everything's going to happen very quickly. But the other beneficiary of this too is Chainlink. I haven't spoken about Chainlink in a while. But they are also the dominant oracle now in real-world asset tokenization. I can't remember how much they've done exactly, but a huge chunk of it too. They have big partnerships as well with MasterCard, and very strong revenue. Protocol revenue is now 5x'd since a year ago. They had 5 million over the last 4 weeks, etc., and 20 new integrations across 12 different blockchains in just 2026 alone. So they're really taking off. That's about time. But again, it's a utility. So think of them like the people that provide your DSL service or high-speed internet. We'll see how much money they make, but it's good to see they are making money. Let's talk about stocks for a second. Mostly down for the week. Red across the board, especially in tech with the SaaSpocalypse. Google down 6%, Microsoft down nearly 6%, NVIDIA 3%, Apple nearly 4%, Broadcom 4%. What else? Meta 6%. It's always funny. It's like Google, Microsoft, Meta all down 6%, Amazon 4%, and Tesla down 1.85%. So not good to be in tech or software, but we knew 2026 Q1 would be bumpy, and boy, is it bumpy. And the markets are a very early morning rattle this morning by some macro news, which you won't touch on as well. Let's look at the stock fear and greed is at 37, which is wicked bad. Actually, I forgot to mention the crypto fear and greed. I think it's at 9, which is extreme fear. Terribly terrified. But we have some good news today. Just 2 hours ago, the first ever Cybercab came off the production line in Giga Austin, and it was created by using the new revolutionary Unboxed process, where basically a car is assembled like a Matchbox car or a Lego car from all sides at the same time. And it worked. This is the very first car to be made, not a prototype, but an actual car coming off the production line. Cybercab number 1. And these things will be made at extreme volume, and they can be shipped around the world. They can run in Japan. They can run in, I don't know, Buenos Aires, wherever you want them. The Tesla company is not limited to the US. Robotaxis. Another good news too, they're adding 8 cars a day at this stage. It's going vertical in terms of the number of vehicles. And bear in mind, it says 341 total fleet. These are the cars, the number plates that have been reported by independent people out there in the wild. They can't track every car. They don't see all the cars running around. And we knew about 2 or 3 weeks ago there was 500 of them. So it could be, at this rate, given this as a proxy for the growth, we could be at 1,000 cars right now. So if you are in the Bay Area, get your app in your phone and try it out. They are a quarter of the price of a Waymo. quarter of the price. Can't make that up. And they come faster too, which is fun. And the safety streak, again, we talk a lot about this because this is the biggest thing to hit transportation since the horse and cart was replaced by Henry T. Ford back in 1908 or 1910 or whatever that was. But now the robotaxis have run 616,400 miles since the last incident. And the last incident, I think, was backing up for a UPS truck or something. It wasn't a car crash. Remember, humans have a severe car crash every 300,000 miles, which means once every 30 years. But still, humans scratch their cars against parking lot walls and fender benders and parking lots too. By the way, be careful in parking lots. This is where all the accidents happen. And scary. But anyway, 616,000 miles, no accidents. There will be something was got to happen. You got 1,000 cars running around in the world. Somebody's going to hit one or somebody's going to, it's inevitable. But this safety streak is pretty impressive. And shout out to NVIDIA real quick. NVIDIA will soon be generating $1 billion a day. Shout out to Shay as well. I put this cool chart together. But if you imagine 365 days in a year, we'll get there sometime in 2020. Let me blow this up, get the year right. 2027 or early 2028. $1 billion a day in revenue. Insane how much money this thing is going to make. And by the way, AI revolution is not slowing down, not by any stretch. And before we get to our meme du jour, and we've got two of them because they're so pertinent today. This is France, and it's a cool little chart. But basically what it tells you is 1/3 of the employees, of all the people that work in France, which is all the people that work in France is less than half of the people in France, but only 1/3 of them. So if you imagine 100 people, 13 or 14 work in the private sector. The rest are in the public sector or relying on the government. This is why France is, I don't know, the social UBI requirements will be far too high for the country to be able to support on the backs of just 13 out of 100 people working to support all the bills that need to be paid. Because if you work in the government, you're not actually creating anything, you're taking stuff. And that's just a little piece. So it's kind of a harbinger of things to come in different Western nations around the world. So governments need to find a way to entice companies to be innovative and creative and disrupt things, especially in this age of AGI, which would be crazy disruption. And meme du jour part 1, I thought this is completely hilarious. Marco Rubio realizing he has to make Bitcoin quantum proof. And they put him in different costumes sitting on this couch all the time. He always looks miserable because whatever needs to be done, they give it to this guy. Anyway, that was funny because Bitcoin quantum proofing. And shout out to, that was from Jeremy Rubin for that little tweet. And this is what 8 months in crypto does to you. This is Tom Lee. Shout out to Tom Lee from Shaw. Can't believe these two photos are only 12 months apart. That was Tom Lee on the left a year ago. And today, his hair has grown out. He looks a bit frazzled. But that's what crypto will do to you if you let it. Don't let it control your life. Well, these videos are turned into Substacks and podcasts. Thank you all for coming. And a big thank you, too, to everybody here on stage with me. Shout out to Vagabond and GQ Trader, Piper, Swiper No Swiping, and Full Stack Broccoli, Sean D, TND, K8, Cypher Sniper, and everybody else. Appreciate you all. Have a great Tuesday. Watch the weather if you're on the West Coast, especially in the mountains. There is I-80 has 70 miles of traffic. It's not moving. 70 miles. And if you're in a car, get off the road and save fuel because you might be there for a long time. Thanks all. Good night.